Two AEW stars reportedly headed to WWE. WWE's planning the heel turn. We're going to talk about all that plus so much more right here on the Ango Show.
Yes.
Hey, yo, what's going on, everybody? Don't forget, we got some merch in the link down below. Summer is almost over. Use the code SUMMER24 for 15% off. www.ango.live. It supports your boy. Definitely appreciate it. I want to kick things off with Xavier Woods. Obviously, WWE is doing a slow burn storyline here. Looks like he is turning heel. And then what was really interesting is last night on WWE Raw, we finally got the debut of Odyssey Jones. Now, really quick, I just want to mention this because he got drafted last year, didn't get utilized. Then he got drafted this year, didn't get utilized. We were all wondering what the hell is happening with Odyssey Jones. Why isn't he showing up on TV? Why don't they got plans for him? Especially because this guy was barely ever seen on NXT television. It's always been interesting to see that he got called up without actually being on television. He has an amazing debut, got a great reaction. And then what was really interesting is Xavier Woods just didn't seem too happy that Odyssey Jones made the save. And it's very clear that they're turning Xavier Woods heel. But then I started thinking a little bit about WWE's plan for a heel turn, and I just kind of want to shoot this idea out there. You guys can let me know what you think, because of course this is what makes wrestling fun when you fantasy book and stuff. But I'm curious if you guys like the idea of Odyssey Jones being the big man behind Kofi, being his bodyguard. Or do you like the idea of Xavier Woods, Kofi Kingston, and Odyssey Jones being a heel group? I think those are two ideas that sound very realistic. And Xavier Woods turning heel makes a lot of sense because the storyline with Karrion Kross is anytime somebody feuds with Karrion Kross, there's always some sort of major change to the person that feuds with them, regardless if they win or lose. So Karrion Kross being responsible for Xavier Woods turning heel, it's good stuff. But I also like the idea of Kofi Kingston and Odyssey Jones and Xavier Woods being a heel group. The reality is Big E probably won't be returning, but it could be really good content, and it could be a really good way to elevate Odyssey Jones if he were to be part of this New Day. Because if Big E ever does get cleared and confronts Odyssey Jones, that effectively makes Big E the top babyface, which I think it's very reasonable to assume that he would be because he's already such a loved guy. But coming back from his injury, this would elevate him to a whole different level. And then at the same time, too, it would be really big for Odyssey Jones being a guy that a lot of people aren't familiar with, being able to feud with him. And then I think there would be a really cool story along the lines of Xavier Woods and Kofi Kingston and Big E, because obviously they were all brothers and they were all very close. But then they turn into the bad guys, and then Big E makes that random surprise. Do you guys catch my drift? Let me know what you think down below. Let's talk a little bit about AEW All In. It appears that there is a change for AEW All In. A recent report by Ebu of Wrestle Purist noted that the Lucha Bros and Pac have been dropped from AEW's plans for All In, and the promotion is instead planning for the Patriarchy to defend the trios titles against the Bang Bang Gang and House of Black at All In. This is interesting because the original plan was for the Lucha Bros to be wrestling at Wembley Stadium with Pac. And at one point, it was mentioned that they would be competing against the Patriarchy for the trios championships. Now, obviously, AEW All In is just a couple weeks away. It's obviously a very massive show for AEW, but this is also happening for a match that I would argue is honestly like kind of worthless. Now you might be wondering why. I don't think there's a need for trios championship belts in AEW. In fact, I think having the trios belts have effectively hurt the tag team division a lot more than I could have imagined. And I think with AEW's tag team division, that should be more of a focus than the trios belts. Personally speaking, I don't like the idea of the trios belts being on television. I don't like the idea of it being at All In. And I don't like the idea of AEW even focusing on it at all, considering there's just so many tag teams who have not been utilized. Now, at the same time, too, it's an issue across WWE as well. The tag team divisions are loaded with great tag teams, but the focus just simply isn't there. I also feel bad for Pac in this situation because Pac, hell of a talent. I want to see more from him in AEW. And I'm hoping that this leads to something for more for him after. But being left of All In at Wembley Stadium to me just sounds like a big mistake. And even though I don't like the trios belts, at least it would have been a championship match in a stadium show, big stadium show. I feel like that would be much more valuable than Pac being included in a singles match on the kickoff show against some random dude where it's just going to be a good match, you know? So ultimately, yeah, it's just kind of weird. We're in a weird situation with AEW and the trios division. Obviously, Lucha Bros and Pac not being on the card is very odd. I also think it's a very weird situation considering the stripping of the belts, and there's just so many weird things happening with the trios division. I just prefer to see it gone, and that's obviously how I feel about it. But you might be wondering, why are the Lucha Bros and Pac being dropped from the match? And that is because it is being reported that the Lucha Bros are expected to depart from AEW when their deals expire. And the likely landing spot is WWE. Yeah, this is crazy, to be honest. Like, I mean, we've heard the rumors that they might be going. We've heard that Penta and Phoenix might be going, maybe one or the other. But the reality is this, guys. Penta and Phoenix going to WWE, like, yeah, just like any other time I've talked about free agents leaving. It's always cool when you see them switch companies and switch brands and changes like that. But the problem here is that WWE doesn't really have a tag team division focus. So if Penta was going to WWE, I would feel much more comfortable with him being in the Intercontinental Championship picture, because the IC title picture is an actual big focus for WWE, especially when you consider what Gunther and Sami Zayn and Braun Breaker, like, with them having the belts and stuff, it just, to me, it's like a no-brainer. So Penta going for the IC title would have made a lot more sense. Penta and Phoenix going into WWE as a tag team, it is kind of scary because I don't think WWE focuses on their tag team division as much as they should. I mean, the DIY just had a very short-lived title reign, and it just goes to show you, like, you know, it's weird, bro. And don't get me wrong, I would love to see Penta and Phoenix go up against Tama Tonga and Jacob Fatu, right? But, like, what the hell are they doing here, man? Something about the tag team division in WWE is just not a focus. And it's not a focus in AEW. So it is kind of becoming a little concerning because I feel like WWE is an incredibly hot product right now and their product is very good, but that's one of their weaknesses. And I think AEW is having a really good year, but that tag team division is also a weakness. So these guys are being pulled off of AEW All In, and it makes sense if they're going to WWE. They obviously shouldn't be part of it. But then it also effectively hurts Pac as well, which I think is a little bit disappointing. So very, very interesting to see how this all plays out. Do both of them go? Do one of them go? Do both of them stay? I don't know. Obviously, a lot of talk, a lot of rumors, a lot of things being said here. But I do think at some point it needs to be discussed that Penta and Phoenix are very well going to WWE. And I don't want to see them in NXT. I want to see them on the main roster, and I don't want to see them rebranded. I love their presentation in AEW, and I don't want to see that change. But you guys can let me know what you think. Ladies and gentlemen, that is the Ango Show.